Laila el-Haddad. She is a Palestinian journalist. Her family is in Gaza. Laila, how's your family in Gaza? Because reports that are coming in is that there is going to be a total siege very soon.
That's right. A siege upon a siege, right? Because as you know, Gaza has been subject to some form of closure or blockade ever since the imposition of the Oslo Accords in the early 90s, and it became even tighter following the elections, following the so-called disengagement in 2005. And so it's sort of a blockade upon a blockade, even more stringent measures. We're not sleeping here on our end, where we've created different WhatsApp groups for each side of my family, my father's family and my mother's family. My father's family, they're all in central Gaza in the city. My mother's family is all in the south, and they've each decided to try to stay in one location, in one house. So they all relocated because, the thinking is, if we die, let's die together. They're very worried. They've been through previous Israeli assaults, but unlike anywhere else in Israel, there are no bomb shelters, there are no sirens, there's nowhere to run or hide. Netanyahu said something in the beginning like, let them leave their houses and go to fields and to the sea. Where are people supposed to go? There's even a naval blockade, right? And so there's these images of people leaving one house to another that might be more safe, and so on and so forth. Our entire neighborhood of Rimal, which you might have heard about in the news, it was the commercial hub of Gaza City. The central part of the city was completely flattened. I mean, leveled to the ground. And I think I had an image that I shared about what that looked like. For what? What reason is this happening? This is collective punishment. My cousin that you just saw there, he has a twin babies. And I just spoke with him shortly, and he said, the concern is they're not even able to leave their houses safely. They can't get formula for their children. They've run out of diapers. They're getting 3 hours of electricity every 30 hours. And so they're using that to charge their power bank so they can use their phones. But otherwise, the power is completely out. And you might have heard, as of this morning, the power, of course, fuels the water pumps. And so they've also lost water completely now. And so even if they did have formula, they couldn't, use that to feed their children. And so, again, this is just collective punishment upon collective punishment of a, captive population of 2.2 million people that have done nothing to deserve this kind of pounding. And, they're terrified. They don't know what's happening around them. They're just hearing F-16s dropping, multi-ton bombs upon them all over the place, and carnage and wreckage, and people have nowhere to run or hide.
And Laila, is there an attempt by a family to escape? The only border, of course, that is open is with Egypt. Is there a sense that of total, submission, that it is about death, only awaiting death, perhaps in matter of few days, or is there an attempt to run away to some safe area? Is there an area which is safe? I want to understand that from you.
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked that question. I mean, a refrain that you hear over and over again in Gaza, not just in this brutal assault, but in all the other ones, is there is no safe place in Gaza. There are no bomb shelters. The only place that some people have been able to go to that can afford is some of, like, for example, the any members of international organizations or journalists or so on, is some hotels, for example, but that's for a slim, a minuscule percentage of the population. But there is no safe, and there's no escape. I mean, it's very important to point out here that unlike any other conflict, so-called conflict, this is a war, this is an occupation, that viewers might know about or have seen, Palestinians do not have access to their borders. And this is actually underpins the context, the greater context of the problem, right? We don't have access to our borders. Even in times of so-called, calm, we can't just go up to a border and say, be it the one with Egypt or the one in the north with Israel, and say, I'd like to leave today. I have a conference I want to attend, or university or whatnot. The only operational crossing that used to exist or be functional was the Rafah crossing with Egypt. And even that a small percentage of Palestinians could use, and with months of coordination and excessive fees up to $1,000 per person, and on and on. So it's not like a normal border crossing. Yesterday, my uncle tried to use that crossing to leave because his permanent residence is actually in Jordan, and he was visiting Gaza. And while he was there, they received an order that the border was about to be bombed, and so they left. And sure enough, about 25 minutes later, the crossing was bombed. And so they're not letting, even if those who are able, and the vast majority are not able, they don't have the correct documents or whatever. Egypt won't let them out, and Israel won't let anyone out. Maybe they allow out 1% in the north. Those who are able to leave can't because the crossing was bombed. And so, no, people have nowhere to go except, to each other's homes or to the streets. Some people have gone to UN schools to take shelter as well.
All right, Laila. We hope that your family is safe and they remain safe in Gaza. Thank you so much for sharing your story.